A very good morning to you. The Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner is facing a backlash from family and community groups over her decision to demolish the Grenfell Tower. 72 people died 8 years ago in what was the deadliest residential fire since the Second World War, triggering a national debate over safety standards. I'm joined now by Rachel Venables and by Mari Aurora to cover both sides of this story. Good morning to you both. Rachel, just break down how we kind of got to this point and I guess the significance of this announcement from Angela Rayner.
Yeah, it's a big moment. I mean, it's 7.5 years, of course, over 7.5 years since the tragedy at Grenfell. And in that time, a public inquiry has completed and reported back on 2 phases, finding in September that the disaster itself was the results of decades of failure, was the description by both government and the construction industry to act on the very real and known about dangers of flammable materials on high-rise buildings, such as we saw used, of course, in the refurbishment of Grenfell Tower to such a devastating and deadly impact. Now, as far as the police investigation are concerned, that is still ongoing, and actually they've talked about needing another year to year and a half in order to decide whether or not there will be any charges brought. But in all that time, as the community continues to grieve, the tower stays standing. Now, it's been wrapped in white sheeting with memorials on the top of it and a memorial walls, as you can see now, in the surrounding area, but that is still there, a real beacon of pain for many people in West London. And there's been a long series of debates about what should happen. Many people know the tower will have to come down at some point. It can't last forever. It's deemed to be safe for now, but it's a highly, obviously focused on piece of building there, which has been sort of really closely monitored for many years. And now we understand that Angela Rayner has spoken to some bereaved and survivors in a meeting last night, and that meeting doesn't seem to have gone down very well at all with some in the community, where she told them that the building would be taken down. And we have had a statement through from Grenfell United, who represents some of the bereaved and the survivors, and they claim that Angela Rayner could not give a reason for her decision to demolish the tower. She refused to confirm how many bereaved and survivors had been spoken to in the recent short 4-week consultation. But judging from the room alone, they say the vast majority of whom were bereaved, no one supported her decision, but she claims it is based on our views. Today's meeting, they say, shows just how upset bereaved and survivors are about not having their views heard or considered in this decision. And they finish by saying ignoring the voices of the bereaved on the future of our loved one's gravesite is disgraceful and unforgivable. And that, I think, is the crux of this. This wasn't just their home nor a crime scene. This is where their loved ones died. And so it is a deeply charged issue and obviously one that currently is very painful for them this morning.
Mari, talk us through the sort of political implications. And were we expecting this decision at this time from Angela Rayner?
So we weren't expecting it necessarily to come this week, but it was something that we were expecting to happen at some point. Labour talked a lot about the fact that this needed doing, but there was no indication that this would be this week. What the government is saying is that it's a very, very, as Rachel was outlining, a very, very emotive and sensitive topic. Now, they are saying that nothing is going to start, nothing is going to happen before the 8-year anniversary in June. So that will not be, interfered with in any way, shape or form. But really what they're saying is decisions need to be made. So let me read you the statement from the department. And they've said the priority for the Deputy Prime Minister is to meet with and write to the bereaved survivors and the immediate community to let them know her decision on the future of the Grenfell Tower. This is a deeply personal matter for all those affected, and the Deputy Prime Minister is committed to keeping their voice at the heart of this. So that's, to an extent, in reaction to that Grenfell United comment, kind of accusing the government of not sufficiently consulting some of the families and those survivors as well. But then on the other hand, there's been different groups that have different feelings. So Grenfell Next of Kin, they feel slightly differently, and they say they understand the hard facts around safety. And that is a part of this, this whole discussion. That building is stable for now, but it is not able to be used. It's not, able to be renovated in any way. So it does, at some point, need to come down. And really, the discussion is what replaces it, in what form. That is a whole other story. But the government really feel that something needs to be done on this. And it's so difficult for those families and survivors. Some of them feel so strongly that they want it there. Some of them feel so strongly that they want it gone. It's so tough.
Some wonder as well on the political side whether if you knew what was coming next, maybe it would change the reaction to the bringing down of the existing tower. Rachel, has there been any thought or discussion as to what does come next?
Yeah, so there's been a memorial group, really, that have been consulting on this for quite a few years now. I think they've narrowed it down to around 5 different organisations who could then design the final plans, and I think they're expecting that team to be selected in the summer. That was certainly the latest announcement. They've talked about themes needing a garden, a place of reflection, a place for people to come and grieve. But for some people, the tower itself is such a poignant, powerful memorial. If anyone who's driven, down the West Way in West London, you just see it, from miles around. And for many people, they want that physically very imposing structure in place because it reminds people of maybe how little has changed and the fact that they still see it as not having had any sense of justice. But, again, what happens next, that memorial, you're right, that is a key part of it, and that's going to be part of those continued conversations going forward.
Rachel, Murray for now. Thanks so much.